Okay, let's deep dive into something that might surprise you today.
Oh,
We're exploring the lessons from a book. Comes from a world of, extreme
Yeah.
discipline and challenge. It's Make Your Bed, 10 Lessons from a Navy SEAL by Admiral William H. McRaven.
right. A fascinating source. We're drawing insight straight from, well, the really rigorous experiences of Navy SEAL training.
Exactly.
It's a world designed to push limits, physical, mental, emotional, all of it. And the lessons, as McRaven presents them, they're surprisingly applicable to everyday life.
And that's really our mission today, isn't it? To uncover the most vital wisdom in there. Find the actionable nuggets, the principles forged under immense pressure that you can take and
Use your
apply.
key to your own life.
Tackle your challenges, achieve your goals. And the really compelling idea right from the start is how actions that seem maybe incredibly small, almost insignificant,
Hmm.
can actually have this huge impact on building success and resilience when facing life's biggest hurdles.
It really challenges that whole idea that you need to do something, monumental or grand to start building a better life or hitting big goals.
Right.
McRaven argues, and this is from his firsthand experience, that the foundation is built sort of brick by brick through these consistent, seemingly minor acts.
Exactly. So let's explore this then.
Mm.
What can the extreme environment of one of the world's toughest military training programs teach you about the everyday challenges and aspirations you face?
And, well, where else to begin but with that image, the one that gives the book its unforgettable title, Making Your Bed.
It sounds almost, I don't know, counterintuitive for a Navy SEAL book, doesn't it? You picture intense physical stuff, strategic planning, not like neatly folded sheets. Why start there?
Well, what's fascinating is the reasoning behind this simple command in SEAL training. It's quite profound, actually.
Okay.
McRaven describes a world that's deliberately engineered for chaos. I mean, from the moment you wake up, you're hit with noise, physical demands, disorientation. The environment is designed to break you down.
Just constant disruption.
Precisely. And in the face of that, just overwhelming chaos, the very first task you were ordered to do was make your bed. And to specific, exacting standards.
Seems trivial.
It seems trivial, but think about it. It was the first chance you had all day to bring just a tiny bit of order to your immediate surroundings.
Ah,
It was the first task assigned, and crucially, the first task you could actually complete successfully.
Okay. A first accomplishment, even with all the chaos that's about to hit you.
Yes, exactly. No matter how grueling the day was going to be, no matter how much you doubted yourself or how exhausted you felt from the day before, you had one small victory right away.
Okay.
You completed the task and you did it well. And this simple act, it instilled discipline, a sense of accomplishment, and a reminder that you can take control even if it's just over your own bunk.
And that connects directly to the bigger picture McRaven paints.
Yeah.
Right. How these small, consistent habits build something much larger over time.
Absolutely. I mean, his point is that this seemingly insignificant daily ritual, it builds the foundation for everything else. It's about discipline, sure, but also attention to detail, setting a standard.
Right.
It shows you understand the importance of getting the little things right. And those little things, they stack up. Successfully completing one small task gives you that bit of confidence, that momentum to tackle the next one and the next.
So the core takeaway here, the very first lesson from the book, is basically starting your day by completing one small, structured task. Making the bed is the example it provides this, crucial psychological anchor,
Mm-hmm.
an immediate sense of accomplishment and control. And that helps you approach the bigger, harder challenges of the day with a more positive, capable mindset.
It's tangible proof, first thing. Proof that you're capable of discipline and execution. And that sets the tone. Small victories, they accumulate and they build belief.
Okay, that makes incredible sense when you frame it that way. You're building momentum from minute one. But, SEAL training often brings up images of the lone warrior, right? The individual pushing beyond human limits.
Sure, that's the stereotype.
Yet another core lesson from the book really challenges that idea.
It really does. McRaven is emphatic about the absolute necessity of teamwork. He spends a lot of time on the principle that you just cannot succeed alone, especially not in SEAL training and, frankly, not when facing life's really tough challenges either.
So it's less about being the strongest individual and more about being part of a strong unit.
Precisely. The training is full of obstacles designed specifically so one person can't overcome them. There are these moments where you have to carry, say, a heavy rubber boat or a massive log together as a team. If just one person falters, everyone suffers. Or the task just fails completely. You have to rely on the person next to you, and they have to rely on you.
Can you, paint a picture of that? Carrying a log, for example, sounds brutal.
Oh, it is. Imagine this massive, heavy log, rough, unforgiving. Your shoulders are raw, muscles are screaming. You've already been through hours of intense training, and you have to lift and carry this thing for miles, often through sand or cold water as a group.
Wow.
If one person slacks off, even a little, the weight shifts, crushing the shoulders of the guys next to them. You learn really, really quickly that your own survival and success and the team's success, they're completely linked to supporting the person beside you.
That paints a powerful picture.
Yeah.
So what happened to the recruits who didn't quite get that? Who maybe tried to make it all about their own strength?
Typically they didn't last long. The training weeds out those who are selfish, or those who can't or won't trust their teammates or try to be the lone wolf. Success in that environment, and McRaven argues, in life too, it's built on mutual trust, shared responsibility, collective effort.
That's a really crucial takeaway then. True success isn't isolated, it's collaborative. No matter how capable you think you are individually, there are challenges you just can't overcome without relying on and supporting others. Teamwork, trust, interdependence, they're essential.
Absolutely. And it applies everywhere, right? Military unit, business team, family, community group. Leaning on others and letting others lean on you, that's a strength, definitely not a weakness.
Okay, so we start with the discipline of small actions. We recognize the critical need for teamwork. And now we get to maybe the defining theme of SEAL training. And let's be honest, life itself, adversity. The book dives deep into enduring hardship, building resilience. Several chapters really focus on different facets of this struggle.
Yeah, this is where the training pushes recruits to their absolute limits, physically, mentally. McRaven draws lessons from the legendary Hell Week.
Hell Week.
Yeah, a continuous stretch over 5 days, cold, wet, grueling training, very little sleep. It's designed to break most of the candidates.
Only the strong survive. That's what calls one chapter.
Yeah.
You mentioned something interesting earlier about who actually survived Hell Week. It wasn't always the biggest guys.
Exactly right. It wasn't really about raw physical strength as much as it was about mental fortitude, sheer grit. The candidates who made it through Hell Week were often the ones with the most resilience.
Resilience.
Yeah, the ones who, despite shivering uncontrollably, being utterly exhausted, covered in sand, sores, fighting intense self-doubt, they just refused to quit. They kept going. Sometimes they were helping pull their stronger, but maybe less resilient teammates along.
That refusal to quit. Even when everything in you is screaming stop.
That's powerful. And that leads into facing the hurdles, right?
Yeah.
Chapter 4, life, like SEAL training, throws obstacles in your path.
Absolutely. Physical obstacles, sure, they're everywhere in training, high walls, long swims.
Yeah.
But McRaven emphasizes that the mental hurdles, they were often the toughest.
Like what?
That internal voice of doubt, the fatigue whispering you can't go on, the fear of failure.
Yeah.
These are the hurdles we all face, military or not. So how do you get over those? Especially the mental ones, when they feel overwhelming.
He talks about shifting your perspective. It's really key. Instead of getting fixated on the size and difficulty of the obstacle itself,
Right.
You have to focus on finding a way through it or over it. It's moving from this is impossible to, okay, how do I solve this? It's about mental toughness, not just physical ability.
That shift in focus sounds critical, especially when you're in what he calls the darkest moments, which is chapter 6. Those times when fear and fatigue are just completely taking over.
Yeah, in those moments during training when the finish line seemed impossibly far away and the present misery was just excruciating, the strategy they taught was critical. Focus only on the next step.
Just the very next step.
Just the next step. Not the 10 miles you still have to run, not the hours until you might sleep, but just the very next action in front of you.
Breaking it way down into tiny, manageable pieces.
Precisely. By focusing only on completing that immediate small task, putting one foot in front of the other, rowing for just 5 more strokes, tying one more knot, they could push through periods that would feel totally overwhelming if they looked at the whole picture.
That's an incredibly practical tool.
It really is. For you, when facing any huge, daunting project or problem, just focus on the single next action you can actually take.
But even with that approach, setbacks happen. You will fail sometimes. Chapter 8 is clear. Failure is not the end.
And this is vital. McRaven talks about moments of personal failure, mistakes his unit made. His point is, failure is just an inevitable part of life and part of training. But it's not a stopping point. It's a lesson, a chance to learn what went wrong, adapt, get better.
So success isn't about avoiding failure altogether, but about how you respond to it.
Exactly that. Those who let failure define them, who got demoralized and quit, they didn't make it. Those who got knocked down, learned from it, got back up, and kept going, they were the ones who succeeded in the long run. Resilience isn't just enduring, it's recovering and moving forward after you fall.
And all these points facing adversity, overcoming it, they kind of culminate in the ultimate lesson, don't they? Chapter
Yeah.
10, never, ever give up.
This is really the capstone. McRaven uses various demanding scenarios from training to illustrate it, including the infamous ding ceremony.
Where they ring the bell.
Yeah, where recruits who quit ring a bell 3 times. He shows that success often just boils down to sheer stubborn persistence. No matter how hard or seemingly impossible a task was, the ones who achieved it were simply the ones who refused to quit when others did.
So pulling all those pieces together, that refusal to quit in Hell Week, the mental shift for hurdles, breaking down dark moments, learning from failure, and ultimately just sheer persistence.
Yeah,
That's how resilience is built.
pretty much.
It's cultivating this incredible inner strength to navigate whatever life throws at you. That seems to be the profound key takeaway from all these experiences with adversity.
Yeah, it's not about never feeling fear or doubt, right? It's about acting despite them. One small step at a time, just fueled by that refusal to be defeated.
Okay, moving on slightly, let's talk about something fundamental for building trust and effective teams: integrity and responsibility. Chapter 5 covers take responsibility for your actions.
Oh, this lesson was enforced with absolute rigor in SEAL training. Recruits were often held accountable not just for their own mistakes,
Right.
but for the collective failures or shortcomings of their entire boat crew, their team. If the boat wasn't clean enough, the whole crew paid the price, usually with extra push-ups or something unpleasant.
Wow, that's tough.
Right.
But I guess it really drives home the idea that you're part of something bigger than yourself.
It certainly does. It teaches you that your actions, or even your lack of action, have consequences that go beyond you. They impact the whole team. And McRaven emphasizes this accountability is even more critical for leaders.
How so?
Well, true leaders don't deflect blame when things go wrong. They own it. They take responsibility for the team's failures just as much as their successes.
Because that builds trust, doesn't it? If a leader can't admit fault, how can you trust them when things get really serious?
Exactly. Accepting responsibility, whether it's for a personal mistake or a team setback, it's foundational for building integrity and trust within any group. And it empowers learning, too, because you're actually confronting what went wrong instead of making excuses. The key takeaway is really powerful. Ownership of your actions and their outcomes for yourself and your team, it's just non-negotiable for trust and progress.
Now let's shift gears a bit, maybe from external actions and team stuff to something deeply internal. The power of belief, Chapter 7. This feels less about physical toughness, maybe more about the mental and emotional side.
It is, and it's arguably just as crucial as the physical conditioning. McRaven shares this really moving anecdote about a fellow recruit during a demanding physical test. This recruit was significantly injured, in immense pain, had every single reason to quit. But he didn't.
Why not? What kept him going through that?
McRaven believes it was sheer, unshakable belief. The recruit believed he could endure the pain, believed he could finish the test, believed deep down he had what it took to become a SEAL. He wasn't the physically strongest guy at that moment, not by a long shot, but his belief. It was stronger than his pain.
So belief wasn't just like a passive feeling. It was an active force that let him push through physical reality.
Absolutely. McRaven concludes that belief in your own ability is often the crucial difference maker between success and failure when you're faced with extreme challenges.
Right.
You can have the best training, immense talent, but if you don't deep down believe you can succeed, you're far more likely to give up when things get really tough. Self-belief, it enables confidence, it fuels persistence, and it allows you to tap into reserves you didn't even know you had.
It sort of pushes your limits by changing your own perception of what those limits even are.
Precisely. Believing in yourself gives you the courage to take on the challenges in the first place, the resilience to bounce back from setbacks, and that drive to keep going when doubt starts creeping in. The key takeaway is clear and honestly pretty inspiring. Self-belief is an incredibly powerful force that significantly increases your capacity to achieve difficult goals and realize your potential.
Okay, so we've covered individual discipline starting small, the strength of teamwork, resilience facing adversity, taking responsibility, the internal power of belief.
Right.
What about leading others? How is leadership defined and practiced in this kind of high-stakes world? Chapter 9 is Serve Others, Lead by Example.
Right. McRaven presents a definition of leadership that's fundamentally about service. It's not about rank or authority first. It's about prioritizing the needs and well-being of your team above your own.
Hmm.
He explains that the best leaders in the SEALs were the ones willing to suffer alongside their team, who didn't ask anyone to do something they weren't prepared to do themselves.
So leading from the front, not ordering from the back.
Exactly. It's leading by example. It means showing integrity in your actions, being willing to make personal sacrifices for the team's success, and approaching your role with humility, not arrogance. And these actions, they don't just earn respect. They build fierce loyalty and cohesion within a unit.
It feels like this connects back really strongly to the earlier lessons on teamwork and responsibility, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Leading through service is kind of an extension of those principles. You are responsible for your team, and you serve them by embodying the values you expect from them. True leadership, in this context, it's earned. Earned through action and character, showing you genuinely care for those you lead.
Okay.
So the takeaway here is that effective, respected leadership is really rooted in serving your team, demonstrating integrity, humility, and leading the way through your own actions.
So we've walked through these really key lessons from Admiral McRaven's incredibly challenging experiences. Starting your day right, the power of teamwork, building resilience through adversity, taking responsibility, the internal strength of belief, and leading by serving others. These principles, they aren't just confined to military life, are they?
Not at all. And that's the book's ultimate message, really. McRaven argues quite compellingly, I think, that these 10 lessons forged in the, crucible of SEAL training, they're universal truths.
Right.
They are applicable to navigating the complexities, the challenges, the opportunities in your life, no matter who you are or what you do.
From finding the discipline to just start your day, to building strong relationships in teams, facing personal setbacks, or stepping up to lead others towards a goal.
Precisely. The book isn't just a memoir of intense training. It's really a practical guide to building a life of purpose, resilience, and impact. It just keeps reinforcing that core message. By focusing on these seemingly simple yet profound actions and mindsets, you build a capacity to turn challenges into opportunities. Opportunities for personal growth and meaningful success.
Yeah.
It truly is a journey that can start with something as simple as making your bed, and it can extend all the way to how you lead and contribute to the world around you.
It brings a sense of empowerment, I think. Knowing that you don't need some grand plan or like inherent genius to make progress. It's sort of those consistent disciplined choices we make every single day. The small things building towards the large.
The small things absolutely lay the groundwork for tackling the big things, no question.
So as we bring this deep dive into Admiral McRaven's powerful lessons to a close, let's maybe leave you with a question to consider. One that draws directly from the core idea of his book and how it applies to your life. If the simple act of starting your day with one small, completed task, like making your bed, can build the foundation for tackling life's biggest challenges, what's the first single small step you can take today towards a goal that you find daunting?
Yeah, just identify that smallest possible action you can actually accomplish right now, and let that single completion be the spark, the spark that starts your momentum.